The Code to the Matrix, First Edition, The Golden Rule. James Evans Boehmer III, JEB 1080 degrees Arch Chariot Observer of Spheres Prime Mobile. To all the youth of the world, so you may see the path to ascend, Zion. Forward. The race was not given to the quick or the swift, but to the one who could endure till the end. Then we found out there was no end. The unwary soul, who fails to grapple with the mocking demon of illusion, will return to the earth as the slave of illusion. To become a true master of fate, you must first become a knower of self. In a time much too distant to consider, we as humans splitting from the single source entered duality. Spiraling away from the Creator, some spun in the direction of 6 while others spun in the opposite direction of 9, this is the spiral force. These two forms contain complete opposites, however, it is with their union something new can be born. This is the sequence of life. Our solar system houses various binary or dual worlds, and Earth, called first Tiamat, is one of them. Once entering this realm, the spirit begins to develop its very narrow definition of things, as in most cases, besides twins, they are lacking their other side. In instinct we create a stand in which we call the ego. The ego is wholly constructed of astral energy in which we create and breathe life into every day. At times, not knowing power, we birth a monster which we love and care for, since after all it is a part of us, our baby. At some point in incarnations or loops, one realizes they must begin the quest of taming the monster. They realize they must flip it over and ride it. At that moment they also see how strong it has become, as it is stuck in its ways, rigid in form, brutish and ineloquent. In that condition we can take it nowhere, just as you never take a street dog into a royal party. The work before us then was to take this rough-cut stone and form it into a chariot of fire that could propel us through the center of the universe. It is there we will meet our other half. In this realm that is the meaning to life. To help us through this whole process and all of its components, the Most High developed a system based upon the energies of the entire universe. Seeing that humans are smaller composites of the celestial spheres, it became possible for one to know how to guide their particular life in the direction that would equal the greatest amount of potential for their unique design. In each person lies the pearl of the highest potential. If developed, it is a treasure to all existence, visible and invisible. This wondrous metamorphosis was possible of the human creation. However, as you see in some parts of nature, not every creation has been given this ability. Thus there arose a challenge from lower forms of consciousness that manifested as jealousy, and thus spirituality and religion were created. These are the limits. Once again, at the close of this time segment, the masses will have an opportunity to discover their true form, which is not a word and comes before even thought. It is the highest. If you but knew. Reason one entire universes are known to be binary, this gives the possibility of balance and diverse continuation. A figure 8, which is the sign used for infinity, is actually the sign of the two worlds that one continues to reincarnate through, one after the other, in an infinite loop we call stasis. Our own parallel actually exists in this other world simultaneously until it is merged with. It also remains just as clueless as you are right now to its existence. Consider hot, cold, light and dark. Is there not warm and grey which can easily fit between the two? Not to mention in temperature there is hot, cold, warm, vapor, freezing, and many more stages, each having a particular use, some being very beneficial for a certain moment, and useless for others. If someone came to your door looking for a person that you love to do them harm, would you tell them they were inside, or would you lie and say they were not around? If you lied to protect that person, is that good or bad? If you ask a pastor of a church, they will say it is evil to tell lies, period, but is better to allow the loved one to be hurt. As you see, everything is a matter of perspective. So there can be no good and bad, only reason, and reason has so many parameters. If all things are not considered, a person could be left confused, not knowing what decision to make from time to time, thus they are left and lost in time. Whatever you do in life, let it be endowed with meaning and purpose. The world is lodged in the phase of opposites right now, thus we face wars, racism, and extinction of our natural life. What I'm presenting here is the information of the inner workings of the world along with its creeds, cultures, and religions that have shaped our thoughts and actions since antiquity, extending several incarnations. We will see how ideas grow over time and sometimes lose their true meaning altogether. In this we will see also how we were taken off track. This due in part by the controllers knowing if you take humans from their original cycle they are easy to confuse and enslave. Let us not forget we faced many conquerors in the past, intending to usurp the order of the world and bring it under their sway. This they accomplished, and it should not be forgotten no matter how much the illusion tells you it does not exist. The foolish think of me, the unmanifest, as having manifestation, knowing not my higher, immutable and most excellent form. Fools disregard me as clad in human shape, not knowing flesh cannot withstand me. They have empty hopes, vain actions, of vain knowledge, and senseless they verily are possessed of deceitful nature and become undivine beings. I hurl these evildoers into the womb of distortion, deluded birth after birth, not attaining me they thus fall into a condition even lower, without the slightest suspension, proving they are not using the reason and senses we gave them. The Most High. There exist certain systems, mainly language and religion, that perpetuate this fallacy of illusion in a subliminal way. If you happen to be aligned with any of the religions or ideas being discussed, do be careful not to think of it as bad if you happen to hear something that makes you uneasy. After all, many of us at one time or another in this life or in past lives have avowed ourselves to something only to later find out we have outgrown it because we now possess an entirely different set of key knowledge. Every time we learn something new that is the truth we should celebrate, we are closer to home. The others. This world we are in is fully animate, it has been constructed by an ability so powerful it has missed no details. Challenge in life equals substantial growth. It is after all the constant lifting of heavier weights that makes a person strong. Those weights we must lift are actually other life forms that are very dense, slow-moving vibrations. These weights when attached to us make us wait right here on Earth, burdened down and unable to fly. Those of us who are divine positive are attracted to the light, thus we must get light by releasing the weight. But wait, the complexity of the Creator exists within its creations and there are many of us. On third density we all appear to be about the same. 2 arms, 2 legs, a head, etc. Although if you had the ability to see each individual's astral form, no 2 forms would look the same. Some you would see infused with animal natures, extraterrestrial life, unknown elements and essences, and everything else they had accumulated in past existences, all comprised in one auric field. When that field is placed in a humanoid body, the outer shell looks similar enough to allow you to get along in society. We are all something much more different than what is seen in the mirror, so we must never be confused that the reflection is the complete you. On other dimensions there are so many life forms they cannot be catalogued. It would be much more difficult than listing every type of insect, plant, fish, mammal etc. which exist on such a small planet as Earth. On their dimension they have a spirit form, the breath flows through all living creatures. When they take physical form, as we have, they combine with what is most like their character. The ancient knowledge was to know how they appeared in the seen world, how to communicate with them, and which ones to avoid. Many of these beings had no concern for the humanoids whatsoever, themselves being either much too dense to comprehend human life or much too developed to waste thought on something so distant and primitive. There are beings who in fact are closer to us in proximity of creation and also endowed with reason. They possessed a fiery and airy nature. They are known now as the serpents. Mankind's history with the serpents is undeniable. For example, in Colombian mythology, Batya, the primordial woman, was called Serpent, celestial snake. Mesoamerican cultures worshipped Quetzalcoatl the feathered serpents and they await his return just as Christians wait for Jesus.